You said yes again this morning, to the favor you didn't have time for, to the plan you didn't want, to the apology that was never yours to give. You've done it so many times, you don't even feel the yes leave your mouth anymore. You call that kindness. But somewhere inside that reflex, something else has been hiding for years, wearing kindness's face, never once asked to prove it actually belongs there. In a moment, you'll get the exact test the Stoics used for this, a question so personal you'll have to turn it on your own hands, your own time, your own instinct to please, before you can honestly call any of it virtue. And by the end, you'll see the image that settles it for good, the line that bent for everyone else, finally learning to hold its shape without going cold. But first, go back to where this all started, to the moment you were taught that saying yes was the highest thing you could ever be. You were told, early and often, that kindness was the highest thing you could be. So you built a self around saying yes. Yes to the favor, yes to the extra hour, yes to the apology you didn't owe. Somewhere along the way, agreement stopped being a choice and became a reflex. Now there's a whole corner of the internet telling you to swing the other way. Stop being nice, harden up, treat every request as a threat. That's not wisdom either. It's just the same mistake wearing a different coat. Before you decide which direction to bend, ask the older question. Was that kindness ever virtue at all? Or was it something else, quietly borrowing virtue's face for years and never once asked to prove it? Here's where the Stoics actually start, and it's stricter than most people expect. For them, only one thing counts as truly good: virtue, the honourable. Everything else, money, comfort, being liked, being agreeable, falls into a category they called indifferent. Not worthless, just not the good. Seneca argued, in essence, that only what strengthens and enlarges the soul deserves to be called good, and virtue alone does that. Things that merely look like they're lifting you up, he suggested, often just inflate you, leaving you emptier than before. Notice what's missing from that list. Being nice isn't automatically virtue. It has to earn that name. And the test for whether it earns it is about to get very personal. Epictetus gave the world its sharpest tool for this, the dichotomy of control. Externals aren't yours to command. Your will is. Most people learn to apply that to other people's opinions. Fine, let them think what they want. It's not mine to control. But almost no one applies it to their own instinct to please. Ask yourself honestly, when you say yes to avoid disappointing someone, are you exercising virtue, or are you treating your own time, your own dignity, your own boundaries as externals to be handed away? That's the failure hiding inside unlimited kindness. It's not generosity. It's the dichotomy of control, left unapplied to the one person who was always supposed to use it: you. Now the fair objection, because it deserves one, isn't boundless giving exactly what virtue looks like? Isn't refusing anyone, ever, the whole Stoic ideal? Here's Seneca's answer, and it's precise. Every honourable act, he says, must be voluntary. Alloy it with reluctance, with fear, with the wish to avoid conflict, and it loses its best quality: self-approval. What isn't free cannot be honourable, because fear is a kind of slavery. So the real question was never how much you gave, it's what moved your hand. Gentleness offered freely from strength is virtue. Gentleness offered because you're afraid of the silence after no. That's not kindness. That's anxiety, dressed for a part it never auditioned for. So who actually gets hurt when someone disrespects your kindness? Epictetus draws a sharp line between real harm and apparent harm. Your reputation, someone's rudeness toward you, their ingratitude, those are apparent. They touch your comfort, not your will. But here's the harder half of his claim. If you lose your own modesty, your own gentleness, your own steadiness, that loss is shameful, and it's on you, because the will is the one thing nothing external can take without your permission. The sting you feel when people take advantage isn't proof they harmed your virtue. It's proof you've been treating their approval as a good. So, where do you actually draw that line for yourself? Sit with that question before you answer. This is where firmness enters, and it's worth being precise about what firmness meant to them. Seneca describes steadfastness as a position no force can dislodge. Not stubbornness, not coldness, but one virtue acting under the judgment of the whole council of virtues. Cato refusing to bend. Attalus, the Stoic teacher Seneca himself studied under, holding his shape under pressure. None of it was the absence of warmth. It was warmth that had located its edge and would not be talked out of it. That's the piece missing from the "stop being nice" advice. It throws out the warmth entirely when all it needed to throw out was the automatic yes. Refusing, when yielding would betray your own judgment, isn't a departure from kindness. It's kindness finally growing a spine. So picture the line again, the one that curved outward for every shape that came near it, further and further, until it was nearly bent past holding. It doesn't need to snap back straight. It just needs to stop mid-curve, once, and hold. Not because it hardened, because it finally noticed it was allowed to have an edge at all. That edge was never cruelty, and it isn't the opposite of the gentleness you had. It's the other half of it, the half that was missing the whole time you called endless yielding a virtue. Gentleness untested by your own judgment was never wisdom. Gentleness that has been tested and can still say no, that's the whole thing, finally complete. Where does your own line sit? Leave it in the comments. I'd like to hear where you draw yours.